Hi Aries, welcome to your March astrology, and this is for Aries and if you have an Aries ascendant. Well, Aries, we're reaching up to your birthday month, yet before we get there, there's a lot of movement that is happening for you that represents getting in touch with your intuition, getting in touch with your feeling side, your psychic side. And this is a very, very powerful month. One, there is a solar eclipse, very powerful super solar eclipse that's happening. The solar eclipse is connected with an expansion planet of Jupiter. There is the lunar eclipse. There is a Jupiter trine Pluto. There is a Jupiter square Saturn. And all of this, what all of this means for you is that there will be different areas of your life where a lot of change is possible. A lot of growth is possible. The main message for this month is about giving up where you suffer in life, where one suffers in life, where you can hear that as where one is unhappy, where one is a person's complaining, and embracing relationships that work, and that relationships of love and interdependence. Independence, connectedness, and interdependence. Now, the month begins with Mercury shifting into Pisces on around March 5th. And this is entering into a part of dreamy thoughts, connecting with a very psychic side of yourself, getting information from dreams, getting information from your tarot cards, from meditation, a lot that's pulling in. Now, around the same time, Mars, your ruling planet, is going into Sagittarius, a fire sign. So it's firing things up for you. There's a really strong energy that is significant about creating openness, how to be more courageous, how to be more open. So what's the courage all about? Get courage. It can be anywhere in your life where you feel that you've been reluctant to lead, reluctant to step out. Be courageous. This will be super strong if you were born around April 7th or April 8th. If you're an Aries sun that was born April 7th or April 8th. Now, if you know your degree of your ascendant, it is the degree of the ascendant that's like 16 degrees of Aries or 17 degrees of Aries. Now, also, as we're moving through the month, and we get up to that eclipse time. The eclipse is on the 8th, around the 8th, depending where on the world you are. So that solar eclipse, it's in Pisces, in the sign behind you. It's like this message, here I come. It's right before your birthday. It's like 12 days before your birthday. Are you ready? Are you ready to release the past? Are you ready to release wherever you have felt things haven't worked out for you? In anywhere in life. Remember, part of that core energy is about releasing suffering and being courageous. So there's a release energy. Now, this is a very powerful solar eclipse, so things can erupt, but where will they erupt in your life? It can be internally. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to happen outside, like an event in your work, an event in your relationships. It can. Because there are two planets that are arguing with each other that has to do with relationships. When I say argue, it means the planets are square each other. It's a confrontational energy, Venus and Mars. So there can be a little bit of this confrontational energy in relationships, but it's meant to stir up your own inner part of you where you can see, where you can know what needs to be released, what needs to go away, and what to be confident in to bring up into your world. And part of this being confident in bringing up into your world is creating a ritual for you in your life that works for you. How do you hear rituals? A ritual is nothing more than sort of like an intention that ends up being a habit. This is my morning ritual. Solidify that for yourself. Now, we do move into, after the solar eclipse, the sun is conjunct Chiron. That sun conjunct Chiron is, again, it's another message. It's very close in that eclipse chart about letting go of suffering and be willing to, hey, I learned from the past. Maybe it was a quote-unquote mistake or didn't turn out the way I wanted to, but what can I learn from that? And this vibration, when Venus is going to make a shift from going from Aquarius into Pisces, and that Venus-Pisces connection, it's going to connect with Neptune, which can be very, very dreamlike, very, very, what's my ideal? And at that time, you might feel, around the middle of March, you might begin to feel a little bit of longing or wistfulness of a love that could have been or should have been, a relationship that was possible but never made it. There might be a little bit of wistfulness that comes along that time frame. And again, that is letting it go and moving on. Now, when the sun shifts into Aries, it's at the beginning of your birthday month, so happy birthday, Aries. And this, just a couple days later, we have the lunar eclipse. So on March 23rd, we have this big lunar eclipse from the sun in Aries and the moon in Libra. And it's vibrating that relationship, me versus me and them sector of the chart. Here's what I want for me, and here's what they want for me. Here's what I want them to want for me. And finding that middle road, finding that balance for yourself will be the key of happy relationships for you. It also will stir up the sense of, I'm really ready to get outside of my shell and just, step into my life, step into my new cycle, right? Sun is in Aries, it's your cycle, even if your birthday's not until April. That beginning of opening up is very strong and very powerful for you. Now, speaking of powerful, this lunar eclipse, right, which is a powerful full moon, it's connected with Saturn. So Saturn's a very powerful player in this eclipse. And Saturn is where we can feel restrictions or need to be responsible. So it's connected with Saturn, which is connected with Jupiter. Now, Jupiter just wants to expand. Jupiter just says, hey, let's just go out and try something, try again. And Saturn is saying, well, be a little bit cautious about that. And when you can find the right measurements of just amount of this, if you think of, if you ever cooked, made homemade soup or something, just the right amount of this spice and the right amount of that spice makes the dish really delicious. That's like Saturn and Jupiter connected together. The right amount of confidence and enthusiasm, and who cares what happens? I just need to do it. Let me be courageous. And the right amount of Saturn caution, but in planning, that Saturn planning, then that the recipe of life, the recipe of accomplishment really has the right ingredients. So consider it in that part. And your power days for the month of March are around the 10th and 11th. And you can find that those are the days that more things happen. You get on the go, hear back from people, just feel that real things opening up for you. And also, with Saturn going retrograde by the end of the month, March 25th, that there is, Saturn goes retrograde for 5 months out of the year. It's really, the day that it happens, Saturn's very powerful, but the retrograde itself, it's going to happen every year for 5 months. So it's not that big of a deal. But the day that it goes retrograde, there's more power of Saturn. So if you're looking for more power of discipline, power of focus, power of being able to stick through something that's important to you, do some meditations towards the end of the month, because that will really anchor in your vision, what's important there. Now there's a couple of dates of the Aries, your Aries sun cycle, that are specific to vibrating and, with certain planets. And if you were born on March 21st or March 22nd, then there's a lot of wisdom energy that's combined for you this month. And it's about incorporating everything together. It's like the universe is asking a lot from you, I believe. It's asking you to incorporate that, one, discipline of Saturn, planning of Saturn, along with the willingness to make major transformations. What do I need to let go of? Clean out the closet, as a metaphor for something bigger. The courage to take a risk and make changes, that energy, and the willingness to believe and dream. So if you were born around the 21st or the 22nd, there's like a lot on your plate. And if your ascendant is around 0 degrees, 1 degree, or 2 degrees of Aries, it's the same for you. And then also, if you were born, as I mentioned before, the 7th or 8th, the vibration of being willingness to make a change and transform is very powerful. Then it's very powerful, and also you're caught up in this beautiful grand trine, and the grand trine is like being swept away. If I can get in the current, then I can allow the current of life to move me forward. So that trine energy that's happening from the Saturn and Sagittarius and the Uranus and Aries is, how can I get swept up? And what are these two planets? Okay, the two planets of courageous change, inspiration, taking a risk, along with a certain element of being prepared. Then life, as they say, life is as at your beck and calling. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate your time, and please do subscribe and click that gear button, and so you can get notified the next time something comes up. I appreciate it, and namaste.